Unreal Engine is one of AAA engines that are available to public for using. Making games with Unreal Engine requires a big installation process. So in Uzu Studio, today we are going to focus on setting up these tools first. We will install Unreal Engine plus Visual Studio with it. First, make sure you meet this requirement. You will have to have general idea on computers, such as how to copy paste a file or cut pasting files and opening folders, navigating through the Explorer like that. Open an Epic Games account. The creation of Epic Games account is same as opening an account on YouTube. First, go to www.unrealengine.com. Then on top right corner, press on sign in. Now on the bottom corner, you will see a text called create account in blue bar. Click on it. Now enter your birth date, birth month and birth year. Now write your email address, first name, last name and display name. Then create a password. Then click on I agree on terms of service. Then click on continue. A mail will be sent to you. What you will have to do, open that mail from Epic Games. You see this code, copy paste this code and paste it on the verify your email address. Now your account has been created. If you go to unrealengine.com again and see your name on the top right corner, then it means your account has been successfully created. This is how to create an Epic Games account. So now if you have an account, you will also need 8 gigs of RAM actually, and you will also need an i5 processor on your PC. If it is an i3, it will still work, but that will be super slow. So I recommend you to use i5 processor, and your computer must have DirectX 11 support and 40 gigs of space free to install Unreal Engine. If these requirements are met, then you can start the installation process of Unreal Engine and Visual Studio. Let's start with the Unreal Engine's installation process first. To install Unreal Engine, you will have to download it from Epic Games Launcher. The Epic Games Launcher is available on Unreal Engine's webpage, which we will going to download right now. So first, let's start with the Epic Games Launcher installation. Let's download it first. Go to your browser, that can be Chrome, Opera or Firefox or anything, and search for Epic Games Launcher. Then get into this link. The link is also given in the description, where the link actually directs you on the Epic Games Launcher's downloading site. If you are using Mac or Linux, this process can be a little bit different. Click on this install on Windows button. It will start the installation of Epic Games Launcher. I usually put things I download for game development tools over on this directory. Download that file on that directory. If the downloading was successful, then we can start installing the Epic Games Launcher. The file we have downloaded may look something like this, which has the name Epic Installer. This will actually install the Epic Games Launcher. Double click on it to start the installation process. I will keep my Epic Games Launcher in the E directory. So that's why I click change and headed to the E directory where I want to actually download the Epic Games Launcher. Now click on install to start the installation process. After downloading process, you will have to log in into your account. You will have to write your email address on here and the password on here. Use the Epic Games account that I have talked about in this video. Now you have successfully set up the Epic Games Launcher. Now we can use Epic Games Launcher to start the installation of Unreal Engine. To start the installation of Unreal Engine, you will have to go to the Unreal Engine tab that you can see on this left side. Afterwards, go to the Library tab. On here, click on the plus icon. This is where you will see your Unreal Engine versions. Every Unreal Engine you download from Epic Games Launcher will be seen over on here. To add a new Unreal Engine icon, we will have to click on this plus icon since we don't have any Unreal Engine versions yet. Click on the plus icon to start. Now make sure to click on this arrow and click the latest version. The topest version is the latest version. Click on it and press install. This won't directly start the installation, but it will actually ask you for some extra things. First of all, browse it to somewhere you want to browse to. If you're happy with this directory, you can see on here, then you can keep it as is. But if you want to change it to somewhere else, well, you can do that. Click on the browse to install it somewhere else. To install it somewhere else, you will have to select, navigate to the directory where you want to put Unreal Engine on, then click on the select folder. Wait, before installation, we will also do something else. Let's go to the options. Over here, we will only select some of the things. We won't install everything. Click on starter content. Make it ticked with right mark. And we won't need this one, templates and feature packs. Untick it by clicking on the arrow on the box. Then we don't need the engine source, by the way. We can still keep it because we are going to use C++ for Unreal Engine. Then scroll down to see other areas. These things are not required right now, so keep them blank. Now click on apply, and afterwards you will get back to this window where you can click on install to start the installation. You can see the installation on the downloads tab. This is where you will understand if Unreal Engine have been installed or not. After finishing the download, click on the black area and you will see on here something is added called 5.5.1 or a number like that, 3-digit number, which is showing which version have been installed. If you have installed a version, then it will be shown on here like this. After downloading, you will see this. It means the Unreal Engine have been installed successfully. To make your life easier, you can also create a shortcut on the desktop. So whenever you open your computer, you can directly click on that shortcut to open Unreal Engine. Click on this arrow and click on create shortcut. Now every time you open your PC, you will see Unreal Engine on here. Well, if you double click on it, it will start the Unreal Engine. Okay, you also might not have DirectX 12 support. If you only have DirectX 11 support, then it may not open properly. To open it properly with DirectX 11 support, right click on Unreal Engine icon, go to its properties. Now on the target parameter, right on the right side of it, space dash dx, make sure that is capital word dx, then 11. Then click on apply, then click OK. It will make sure you run the DirectX 11 even if you don't have DirectX 12 support in Unreal Engine. Even though we have created this shortcut, we will have to set up some things for Unreal Engine. We will have to install plugin for Visual Studio. To install that plugin, click on Unreal Engine again, double click on it to open Unreal Engine Launcher. Now I hope you have Unreal Engine opened successfully. Now create a project. Click on allow for this Epic Games Launcher if you have this message. I did not expected this thing, but however, go to blank project and over here we are going to create a project. Then we can open Unreal Engine where we can install the plugins for Visual Studio. Let's create a project. As we are creating a project, let's create a project that is functional. Click on blank, go to C++, click on C++, and after that make sure starter content is checked with blue mark. and select the desktop platform for target platform and name your project. You can name your project anything, project A, project B, DirectX, or Need for Speed, or whatever you want. I will name it project A over here. If you already have a folder that has the same name, project A, then you may get this error, and that also comes to where you want to put your projects. You don't put your projects on C drive. I don't recommend this because it may slow down your PC. So to change your directory to another area, click on this icon and go to a different directory that is not C. You can see this is the C directory, but we are going to go on D directory. This is where I put my files. On D directory, my projects. You can put wherever you like to put your project on. Go to the area where you want to put your projects on and click on select folder. Now it will create the project right over that directory that we have just selected or browsed. Now on project name, let's write hello world, and after that everything has been set up. Then you can click on create to create the project. Now if you click on this thing, the project you have created will be right on that directory. If you want to get to that directory, you can always get to it by clicking on your PC file explorer. But creating project is not our main goal. We will just install a plugin by opening Unreal Engine editor. After opening Unreal Engine, this is what you will see. This is the project that we have created and have been opened. But this is not the primary area we are going to focus on today. We will learn the basics later, but for now we will have to integrate Visual Studio in our project. To enable Visual Studio integration, go to Edit and click on Plugins. On the Plugins search bar, write Visual Studio and you will see this Visual Studio integration, which is for your case will look like something like this. For this one, we will have to click on Visual Studio integration plugin only. But Visual Studio Code integration is another. This is not for Visual Studio, so you can keep it unchecked. But if you have enough space and luxury in your PC, then you can check it out too. So whenever you choose to change the IDE from Visual Studio to Visual Studio Code, then you can use this thing. After that, click on the cross of plugin tab. Then let's go to editor preferences. On editor preferences, look for on the left side there is something called source code. Click on it and click on this arrow and select Visual Studio. Then afterwards we can now close Unreal Engine. We can safely close by pressing the cross button over here, and Unreal Engine is now closed. Afterwards, we have set it up Unreal Engine properly. Now we will need to use Visual Studio, but to use it, you will have to download and install it. To install it, we will need the Visual Studio setup. Pretty long, right? But don't worry, step by step, we are going to do all these things. So first of all, search Visual Studio on Google. Now click this link in the bar. Now we have been linked to Visual Studio community. Make sure you are downloading Visual Studio community. And make sure you are not downloading Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio Professional or Visual Studio Enterprise. Afterwards, click on this download button. After downloading, you will see this file that have been downloaded, Visual Studio Setup. Double click on it to start the installation of Visual Studio Setup. Click on Run. Then click on Continue and it will start the installation process of Visual Studio Setup, which will download you Visual Studio Community on your PC. After downloading Visual Studio, you will see nothing and it will be blank on your PC because nothing have been installed. No Visual Studio. So go on the available and search for Visual Studio Community. If there is Visual Studio Community, then you can download it. Click on Install. This window will pop up after you click Install. Over here, you don't need all these things. What you will need only is checked desktop development with C++, and then this module called game development with C++. If you don't see them, scroll it down and up and you will see some of these modules. You will only need desktop development with C++ and game development with C++. Now also, even if we have selected two of those, there are some extra more tools that we will have to actually download. First of all, to download those tools, head to the individual components, and over here search for UE5. What the hell? Unreal. Tick this thing, Visual Studio Tools for Unreal Engine. After this one, we will need Windows SDK. Over here, select this one, Windows 11 SDK. And you can, if you are on Windows 10, you can click on this one, Windows 10 SDK. If you are not sure which Windows you are working on, then click both on Windows SDK 10 and Windows 11 SDK. Then if you will work with shaders, which if you do, I think you will actually someday. If you work with shaders someday, you will need this tool called HLSL. Search for HLSL and tick mark this with right mark. Then you can start the installation process of Visual Studio by clicking on the install button. Now, even though we have installed Visual Studio Community, there is one last thing to do. That is telling Visual Studio to work with Unreal Engine. For that, we will need a plugin which is located inside of Unreal Engine's File Explorer directory. You can safely close Visual Studio Installer now by clicking on the cross button after you have downloaded. Afterwards, we will navigate right on the place where we have installed Unreal Engine 5. If you don't know where it is installed, minimize this File Explorer for now. I will do that to show you where it is located. Afterwards, you can see this part. This is where Unreal Engine is actually located. If you are still not sure where it is located, click on Open File Location. This is the Unreal Engine, and we will have to go to the engine version folder. Inside it, click on Engine, go to Extras, go inside Unreal VS, Visual Studio 2022 or 2024, I don't know, but it is Visual Studio VS. And afterwards, there is a file called Unreal VS that is going to tell Visual Studio to work with Unreal Engine properly. To install it, double click on Unreal VS. So it is ready to use Visual Studio. So this is how to install Unreal Engine with Visual Studio to work with C++. Next, we are going to learn about how to create a project, how to use Unreal Engine viewport, contents, inspectors, and actors. So this is all for this video. Thanks for watching. This is a video tutorial from Uzu Studio.